Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use they, them.
And
let's play a game together.
Let's do it. Okay, so we are back with episode 2 of Poppies and such. I know that's not what it's called. But I want to just call it Poppies in Ruins.
The god of the nobody poppies.
Hi, nobody's poppies.
Nobody's poppies. Hell yeah, nobody's
Honestly,
poppies.
From another perspective, this game would be nobody's poppies. All right. Goodness, how damn noisy. I also like that the color cues that go with the quotes are really accurate.
Like I said, I liked that.
The God of Nothing
that was really good.
Is cued as red.
Once upon a time, there was a god.
The red one, just in case you didn't know. But I like the color coding. It makes me happy.
It does. A smiling god. A greedy god. A peaceful god, or so their followers claimed. The god promised peace from the evil others trying to take their land. But in exchange for peace and safety, this god demanded blood and sacrifices. So many were sacrificed for centuries.
Ooh. Oh,
the god demanded so much that the villagers kept their enemies hostage and sacrificed them to the god.
I'm wondering if each poppy represents a sacrifice.
Oh, yeah, and those are the ones that... So the whole field was covered in sacrifices, but as time has gone on, that's their remaining power, basically.
Or they're tied to the land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there were no enemies left, but the god demanded more.
Oh.
So they sacrificed themselves for their god until there was no more prayers to power the god. My giggle. And with no piety nor pity, the god died as well.
Hi. We couldn't charge the god's battery anymore.
Then, finally, there was peace upon these hills. Some say each of these poppies are the souls the god took.
Me,
yes.
On board. We are understanding each other, game. We
yes,
got this.
Brilliant. I love your images.
I say, me and you, game, we have an understanding.
Some say these poppies are what's left of that god. How about both? Both
Could
is
be
good.
both, yeah.
Nobody knows, really, and that left no knowledge sans a few spectators that string together a legend through oral tradition.
Oral traditions are so important. Every culture ever can talk, but they can't all write.
Nope.
And they don't all have ways to preserve the written word, even if they can write. Oral tradition is amazing. Purple?
Yes.
All right. And that's why I'm here. I want to research this place and that god.
The wind blows through the rippling
Fields.
I can habla inglés today.
Just read
through the
slower.
rippling fields, which now feel so much larger to the painter once silence falls between the two. The painter, stunned by the tale, stares at his wet paper that was waiting for pigments. Adding any color is far from his thoughts.
Ooh.
Who knew?
They came back.
Who knew such a beautiful place had such a colorful history? Finally, he spoke in a whisper, breaking the nothingness between the two. The researcher turns to him with a sardonic smile.
You mean a single-colored history? That's adorable. That's cute.
Well, yes, actually. It's no wonder this place feels so, what's the word? The researcher sighs that his joke did not get across, and replies in his usual sour manner.
I'm just like, he's like, I have made a joke. And the other one's like, oh yeah, take it very seriously. And he's like,
well, sometimes I feel like that's people with us.
It
Just to
is.
be honest, they're like, here's a funny. Me, yeah.
I'll take
the
your-
ramifications of that thing, just blah, blah. And they're like, no, it was supposed to be a joke.
oh my god, me all the time. And someone going, you guys, you're so trusting, you believed me. And we're like,
Yes.
we didn't have enough context to know that was a ridiculous.
It's fine. It's fine.
Sour manner.
Usual sour manner.
Ethereal?
The painter laughs. Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Blushing again?
Suddenly not wanting the painter to look at his face, the researcher makes an acknowledgement that sounded like a humph and turns to the pillars.
Humph.
Not wanting the silence to linger for long, the painter continues with a shy chuckle while dabbing some paint on the paper and focusing on the fields of poppy.
You mean on the nearby ruins of poppies? I don't know what your view is. Can you see over the actual nearby ruins, and are they framing further fields of poppies?
I mean, now they're showing just poppies. So
no, but I mean, like think of where he's standing, right? And then
Right.
you have the specific sort of like 2 pillars and the wall in front of him.
Uh-huh.
What if his height dictates so that he can see that, and it basically creates a natural frame in his picture, and then he just sees sweeping fields of poppies down underneath that.
Oh, maybe. That's
Like,
true,
that'd be
too.
very pretty. Okay.
But it was interesting to find out that there had been a god that was worshipped here. I never knew.
So you truly never heard of the legend of this hill?
Not really. I didn't grow up here, so I don't know the local legends.
I love that, actually. And it's really nice to have really soft, like, expositional history like that in
Yeah.
stories, where you're like, yeah, if you didn't grow up here, you just don't know. And again, people going, whether we're superstitious or just more private or just going, it doesn't mean anything, you just don't tell the people that aren't as familiar with it.
Right. He put down a few strokes of red on the wet paper, watching as they bloom downward. But there is something about this place that says there's a story behind it, you know? It's no wonder you're trying to research this place. It's fascinating. While cleaning his brush for a different color, the painter smiles towards the researcher. Before the researcher could indignantly exclaim what he was smiling at, the painter continues. That being said, I'm really grateful you're letting me paint before you start your studies. Thank you, truly. The researcher is speechless for a moment, unsure of what to say, before responding with an arrogant, almost forced bark of laughter.
Well, I figured I may as well study other aspects of this place while you do your thing. Nothing special.
Still too stunned to accept genuine thanks from a friendly smile, the researcher tries to deflect those bubbling feelings by staring at the sky the painter is focusing on and trying to find the right words.
I also enjoy that there's this interplay between them that suggests a lot of deep complexity to both of them.
Yes.
I was to say, but it is really funny where your researcher goes from I will be completely aloof to I try to be vulnerable. If vulnerable doesn't work, I panic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. So you're new to this area. You fit in so well that I thought, even if I never saw you before, I mean, the town is larger than one would expect, after all.
The painter chuckles, although this time the researcher can swear his laugh seems uncharacteristically subdued. Shit, I said the wrong thing again, didn't I? The researcher thinks before the painter replies.
I love the idea of the God of Nothing telling all of this and deciding what's in their heads and deciding what the context of the situation is.
Right.
And part of me vaguely wonders if there's just been a couple of forgotten quotation marks here and there. But I really love the idea that it's just nothing going, here's what's actually going on. Let me just fill it in. I'm telling this story basically to myself.
It's my story, fuck you.
And going, when people show up on the hill, I just decide what's going on between them.
I don't think I fit in as much as you think I do, but it kind of makes me glad someone thinks I do. Despite the answer delivered with a laugh and a smile, it seems more sad than the researcher expected. It was almost familiar.
I'm also waiting for the first choice. I know there are choices in this.
Oh, absolutely. The painter glances away from the sky and stares at what progress he made. Grimacing from what is on the page, he starts cleaning his brush in the cup of water he brought. But yes, I moved in about a year ago, I believe. I wanted to find places that would inspire me, and this town seemed to fit what I wanted.
And you came to the pillars on Poppy Hills without knowing of the legend. How fascinating.
The wind blows gently, drying the colors on the paper quicker than expected. The researcher fixes his gaze towards the pillars, taking in a deep breath, and the warm floral scent the wind carries. I also love how sort of pretentious this sounds if it's just, the God of Nothing talking about it going faster than he expected. You don't know that, but you're deciding. That's what my wind is doing, okay? I know. They could also be mildly omniscient. You're within my grasp, so I am in literally everything right now because you're a part of me.
It could also be you're in my center of power, so I do know what's going on, but I'm also, all I'm doing is filtering it with my feelings
my
on
perspective,
the language.
yeah.
And so I do actually know the experience. That's fun.
And you've lived here all your life. For a moment, the researcher hesitates. Usually he would deflect to another topic regarding himself, but after considering how much the two have talked at this point, the hesitation melts away.
Well, yes and no. I did travel around when I was younger, but I kept coming back here. I needed a place to store all the books I've collected, after all, so soon enough I just stayed here and got interested in the local legend.
Aha! I see! So you've been trying to piece together the history of this place.
Yes, actually. I knew of the legend as a child. Most everyone who's been born and raised here do. I also like this idea that you're a researcher and, a type of scientist, but you could just be an anthropological scientist. And, it's... A lot of people don't call them scientists, but in the way that archaeologists are, so are historical anthropologists. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of cool. But not much is actually known aside from what I told you. There's not much history known about these hills other than our grandparents telling stories their grandparents told them.
Neither the painter nor the researcher realizes how relaxed one is with the other. So when the painter laughs his usual laugh, or the researcher replies in his usual manner, the hesitation and nervousness in the other melts away.
It's really cute.
Wow, how interesting. So, are the kids in on this legend stuff too?
I'd say somewhat. The legend has been passed down as versions of cautionary tales, and as far as I know, newer generations tend to be willfully ignorant about the past. Oof.
So then there wouldn't be any kids trying to say, for example, come up these hills and pretend to be that god you said lived here. The researcher becomes silent, with a complex expression falling over his face. Had the painter also heard the voice calling to him? Did the painter actually witness him yelling at something, or nothing at all? Thinking back to the turbulent feelings that led him here was not pleasant, and the researcher was embarrassed to admit that he may have let a prank push him far enough that the painter witnessed something embarrassing. The researcher did not know the answer to the painter's question, nor did he want to know. So he answers with excessively more emphasis than needed.
You just suddenly blurt out, "Ha! Maybe they do, or don't. Who goddamn knows? Either way, it's so stupid they would."
The painter is startled at the unneeded outburst, and, in hopes of keeping the air between them light, laughs nervously while turning back to the now dry paper. Oh, okay then. I guess those kids pranked me good the other day.
I love how the swipe, so the page transition is basically a Starry Night swipe.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
It's pretty cool.
It's really pretty. It's the swirling clouds.
Yep.
It looks great. Silence was common between the two, and even seemed to be common in their respective lives. Even before their arrival, silence was prevalent atop the Poppy Hills, and that constant defined normalcy for a time. At first, silence was the best way for the two to communicate, lest they face each other's caustic retorts. But nobody can communicate with nothing, so conversations occasionally occurred between the two, with each word causing the fires to become calmer.
I do like the scribbly clouds as well. They're very fun.
They're very charming. Sometimes the researcher would meet the pillars first, and take some notes with his book and purple pen. Sometimes the painter would follow after and set up his easel. I really need to wake up earlier so I can get here before you do.
For what reason? I already agreed to let you paint your silly painting first. And we both know you won't get up early. You won't get up early like I do.
Yes, but I don't want to make you wait long, and I can wake up earlier if I wanted.
If I wanted to, But you haven't yet. That kind of... Sure you could, but if you haven't, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right? It's like, who cares? Actions speak louder. I will tomorrow. Maybe I will. The researcher laughs.
I'd like to see that.
The painter laughs too.
They're really cute.
The wind picks up as they laugh, at first softly, then all at once. If either of them said anything to the other, then neither would hear the other, but it did not seem like they needed to be heard by the other. Through small talks, their desires are opposite from the other. They learned how to be comfortable with each other's nothing, and now there was something communicating in the nothing between them. While the noise between them becomes their new normal, and becomes the new normal for the hilltop, neither of their time grows longer the more they do this, only shorter. And I was getting so tired of hearing them make such stupid noise. So instead of their noisy banter and annoying laughter, my voice pierces through the winds.
Oh dear. For what reason do you two come here? To disturb my slumber? Oh, look at that!
Wow!
That is amazing!
Okay, that's cool as hell.
That is such great creature design. Just hands.
Are they single?
Who is she? Right.
Who are they?
I was to say, just for the meme, you know. But the hand
absolutely.
antlers, the face, the level of like mourning, but also like the sort of just.
God, that's really pretty.
I love the walking on the hands and everything. That's amazing.
That's so neat.
Well done.
Quite indeed. Silence was always the standard for the days atop this hill. These humans have been cheerfully squabbling over this piece of nothing for so damn long, and once I appear before them, silence reigns once again.
Hand antlers.
Handlers.
No, but like in all seriousness, that's beautiful.
Like, no, dead serious. That's really gorgeous. I love that.
Yes, all the way. And just, the hands everywhere. Also the sort of like roughly sort of crepe paper feel to the dress. Or garment around the edges.
Yeah.
I like it. At last, you two are finally silent. I should have made my appearance earlier, instead of making you two believe I've been mischievous children in a trench coat. I'm 14 mischievous kids in a trench coat.
Yes! After moments of disbelief, they spoke, their words colliding into each other.
Are they both going to show at once? I need to know.
Need to know.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Have we met before? You sound familiar.
I am whatever either of you make of me. Something I haven't known for quite a long time. After all, the god needs reverence and worshippers, and I've neither for quite a long time.
A little redundant.
I say the quite a long time and quite a long time, but on the other hand, they do seem a little disassembled, if you will.
Yeah, possibly. The two stare at me, stunned and speechless, until the researcher furrows his brows towards me.
God, you're the god of legend. That's impossible. Make of me... I think it's what you will. Just one of. Make of me what you will. But a god I am no longer. No, I mean, there's got to be some fancy trick to you. You're just some kind of kids in an elaborate costume, aren't you?
I don't know. They look pretty real to me.
I believe in prosthetics. Oh.
Even without power, seeing mortals attempting to perceive and comprehend me always elicits a humored scoff from me.
Go ahead. Throw a rock at me. Spit at me. No matter what you do, you can never truly touch me.
What? No, we're not gonna... As soon as the words leave his mouth, a book flies through me.
I love the book in the background. The researcher just, damn it all, I will do science immediately. Whoosh!
And lands right behind me. Hey now, that wasn't very nice.
Did
The researcher sputters, ignoring the chastising from the painter.
How brave of you, mortal. But do not worry about the consequences. I cannot touch you, and I can do only nothing. What? Nothing. But can't you control the weather? Like the winds, and the sun, and the rain? Not exactly. I can will the winds in this area, but only gently. The sun and rain seem to be beyond my reach as well. But this area seems to be attached to my will, so occasionally the conditions change somewhat within my control. But not quite. I have moods and it affects them, but I can't just choose it.
Yeah.
I also like the motes in the air. I don't know if it's meant to be snow or just like petals or what, but it's...
I know, it's really neat. I'm sorry, I'm like...
It's soft, atmospheric.
It's really good. It's so good.
And no, I can't make you go insane, or murder you, or whichever macabre fantasy you humans seem to be attracted to. I only have as much power as a poppy. Whoosh.
The researcher scrambles towards where he threw his book, while the painter looks at me, confused. What? I don't understand what you just said.
It's not unlike mortals keeping in turbulent emotions. You can feel when someone is angry and says nothing. Yes? Can control weather like emotions quickly. The book
Scribbling
was
furiously.
my research notebook. No!
After writing notes down while walking to where the painter stands, the researcher turns to me.
I love how intense that piece of character is. 1, I'm a researcher. 2, what I'm immediately going to do when suggested with the nature of this reality is test it, as a scientist does.
Yes.
And then 3, I'm going to go, shoot, I have lost my research tool, which is which is what I used to test it because it was what I had on hand, and I'm going to go and get it. Downed it all.
Honestly, I'm very charmed by that. That's a great choice.
There's so much personality in those 3 steps. So, what are you then? If you're not a god, you're certainly not human. What you see is all that I'm worth. Thousands of years of blood and blessing, and now a witness between 2 lovers. Look at those eyeballs and the blushing. Whoa. I love them talking to each other. Okay, so that is one of my favorite conventions in this game so far, because there's constantly, like, we've talked about it in several games, and there's this thing where they try and make characters talk over each other, and unless you have a lot of practice with the voice actor next to you, or you just can edit it and cut it that way, there's no way to really talk through and cut someone off naturally with a script.
It's true.
I say, and just having them talking over each other sort of unintelligibly like that with the text layering is just a really charming way to do it.
Actually, and I appreciate it. Like, okay, so we're on the 2nd episode. If it isn't really obvious, I am deeply charmed by this story. We really haven't had any choices, so I'm not really...
We're confident it's not a connect novel because it has multiple endings.
Yes, because it does state it explicitly. And I'm just like, this is really interesting. Like, the movement is really charming. All the different angles and the character is really charming. The fact that things flip and, like, it's just been fun.
And the fact that the characters both have a back. One of the things we noticed actually first, there's been very few games that we've played where you have a back illustration to the characters.
Yes, actually, I think we played one.
I'd say Arcade Spirits actually was the one where we first went, oh my god, they have a back.
Yeah,
and it was only with one character, I believe.
Yeah, that we saw the whole time.
And the thing is like, for her, it was just a singular convention for the most part, of like an introduction because of how she was working. But the fact that they do turn around and turn away from each other and stuff, it adds so much movement. Like, the sort of flatness of their sort of paper doll cutout is lost immediately, and they've got so much more depth just because of making those kinds of choices.
There's so much character in this, like, damn.
Also, the level of just like the soft, tired gaze is very cute. With the, I'm going to paint my picture, but I need to do my research. Just wait for the picture. I can't wait all day for my, it's just really cute.
This is really good.
It's very charming.
Like, again, I have still, like, minor quibbles and quips with sometimes the grammar, and sometimes some of the run-on sentences are a lot. They are really long.
But it's not...
But, like, it's not necessarily bad, because it really does kind of add to that sort of dreamy, sort of surreal-ish kind of atmosphere. And also, you have this wind, as it were, this god, who's very long and whiny and a little bit, like, it adds, it's a character at this point.
In this case, yeah, I feel that the longer and a little bit more artistic without being super flowery sentences just add to the atmosphere and are effective for the type of story they're telling. Like, here and there, a typo, a doubled word or letter, but like that happens in a lot of places. I think they've done a really good job.
Oh, yeah, The researcher continues to sputter something about something being inconceivable, but the painter quickly changes subjects with rosy cheeks and clearing his throat. So, what made you come out now, of all times, since we're nothing to you, but why now and why us?
This is the coming out. You two are noisy. Very noisy. Like passionate fires. And that makes it hard to sleep. Okay, I've literally had a god yelling at one of my characters for being really noisy at one point, and this is freaking just so familiar and charming. So what? Are you going to curse us? Are we going to be your sacrifices now that we woke the sacrificial god? Also still nervous about each other.
The researcher glares intensely at me. I know the painter does not think of me as a threat, but the previous mention of my so-called legend seemed to make even a jovial man like him uneasy.
Only if you want to sacrifice something to me. Otherwise, I am as powerful as a single flower in this field.
I will repeat again, like
I
a
have
very
told you-
tired wind.
You know how the flowers do nothing? I'm telling you my power is nothing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're as powerful as a flower? The flower does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there.
Oh, wait! So that means I can come back and finish my painting, and he can finish his research?
Really? Really? Of all the things you're worried about? I have no power to stop you two from your heart's desires. All I can do is nothing. Except for conversation is quite a bit, but it's not the power you're used to.
With a beaming smile, the painter laughs with excitement. Thank you so much!
It's nothing worth being noisy about. The faster you two finish your work, the faster I can be left alone.
Just make sure the skies are clear for me. Rain makes it impossible for me to do any painting. The researcher clears his throat to get the painter's attention.
Hey, sorry to rain on your parade, but we need to leave. It's getting late and you need to put away your easel.
You're right.
Getting dark already.
It takes some time to stow away the painter's equipment in his wooden suitcase. Even with the researcher's help, the sun had fallen a bit ago.
Yep, it is. It's really just sunset.
It was a pleasure to meet you. We'll be back to keep you company.
I love the idea that he's going to try and paint the god. Like I can finish my painting and I can see you while I'm painting.
Before I could retort about how I actually want silence, not their presence, the researcher hastily grabs the painter's arm and yanks him towards the path down the hill.
Phoop! Okay, that's so cute. Let's go. Stupid. It took so much time to get your damn stuff put away, and it'll be dark when we get to town.
Despite the venomous tone in the researcher's voice, the painter replies with an apology and a laugh, as if he knows the researcher is not actually angry with him.
That level of familiarity that's grown over days and possibly weeks.
And with a respective grumble and a laugh, the two made their way hastily down the darkening hill.
I'm like, this trope is, the grumpy sourpuss and the charming cinnamon roll.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of adorable.
It's really cute.
I
like it when it's done well. And honestly, I am very charmed by this, and it's good. I like this.
It's very cute.
Nice.
Darkening hill.
Clicky? Thank you.
Yes, the wind blows. I love that the whole thing is captioned and the sound effects are captioned. So if you're ever here and you can't hear anything, there it is. Honestly, the episodes, if you follow the natural pacing of the game to We Just Landed Here Last Time, have a pretty precise length. There was one whole sort of cycle up on the hill, and then this follows that same pattern and feels like the next cycle.
Are you saying you would like to be done?
Not necessarily. I was just saying that it feels like a very natural place to be so. Okay. You want to click and see what the god says?
I mean, they say dot at first.
So stupid.
Honestly, that's a great cliffhanger.
It
so
is.
they are very stupid. So we will be back to check out the stupids in the next one. Hey!
I'm just going, it creates these very natural sort of chapters without there being chapters, or at least it has done so twice now.
Yeah.
And it's very charming.
Yeah, so thank you very much everybody for joining us. We really appreciate having you here.
Yes.
If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos. We love having your support. We love hearing your comments, your thoughts. We love also, though, when you keep it spoiler-free as much as possible.
Yes.
We do want to hear from you, though, for sure. And then other than that, also, if you want to support the channel more directly, please feel free to go check out our Patreon and our Ko-Fi and our Twitch. We have some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!